All right, we are going to get started with the media availabilities for the Bush Pole Award qualifying here at Texas Motor Speedway for Sunday's O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. We are joined by our second fastest qualifier, Kevin Harvick, who is a driver of the number 4 Busch Light Ford. Kevin, why don't you just take us through your lap out there?
It was good. We had a good lap and just got beat by a little bit. I think you didn't really realize that was going to be the last one, but we thought there was a chance. So kept it in the family, and that's a good thing for Stewart-Haas Racing, and hopefully we can continue the trend of running well for the rest of the weekend.
All right, we'll open up to questions for Kevin. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll come up here with Bob. He's coming behind you, Bob.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. Did you try the top groove at all in first practice?
No.
Okay. So you have no clue if it's going to be rubbered in and good to race?
The bottom groove is going to be the fastest, and until they have a race, there's not going to be anybody off the bottom just because it's still, and it's dirty. Even with all the work that they've done, everybody's still running on the bottom, so the debris is still, it's not as treacherous as it would have been if they wouldn't have run everything in. So, they're doing everything you can, but in the end, you just have so much grip in the whole racetrack that the bottom is going to be, the dominant groove until there's less grip.
We'll go to Chris.
ChrisKnightCatchfence.com. Kevin, two quick things real quick. I was going back through happy hours, and Derek Carr called in a couple weeks ago, surprise call into the show, and said that he had been a fan of NASCAR and was getting more involved in it and had expressed some interest to come into a race. Have you guys worked anything out where he's going to be able to come to a race?
We actually haven't carried. We need to carry that conversation out. It's we went on vacation and kind of shut the world off. So I'm glad you reminded me. We need to try to fulfill that conversation to get him to a race. He's a good guy. Obviously, I don't know if any of you follow him on Twitter, but he's fun to follow just because he's such an inspirational person, and things that he says really make a lot of sense in life in general. So it'd be good to have him.
All right, and next week at Bristol, Chase Briscoe going to make his Xfinity debut with Stewart-Haas Racing. Have you watched Chase as he's matured and blossomed up through the ranks, and how do you think he'll do?
I think Chase is going to do well. I think obviously, our stuff's been running well, and I think it's going to be good for him to get in one of those cars to have a better feel as to what they should feel like. I know that they're still trying to get everything back to where it needs to be with the 60 there, and it just I think him getting in our car is definitely going to give him a good indication on where he's at, and get him his first good look at having something that is capable of running in the top 5.
We'll go to Reed in the front.
Reed Spencer, NASCAR Wire Service. How did you enjoy your visit to Augusta?
Augusta was really good. We were talking about the trip this morning actually, and everything that we do here is all about trying to figure out how you're going to do better on social media and connect with younger fans, and how are we going to do this. And there they take their phone away. You can't get on a property with your phone, and nobody's worried about taking pictures, and everybody's engaged in the event, and it's sold out every day, and so that's intriguing just because of the fact it's so opposite of how everybody else is thinking in every other sport, and it's just one of those little niche situations where it's outside of reality, but it's very refreshing to walk around for 6 hours and not have to you don't even think about it because you don't have it. That being your phone. So, but the event itself is great. I wish I could grow my grass like that.
Any final questions for Kevin? Lee?
With all the buzz with Tiger coming back this week, you start to wonder who could be that guy in NASCAR. I mean, I asked Stewart about it. He said you could be the guy that moves the needle, but do we really need somebody over here that can move the needle like that does get the attention of sponsors and such?
Look, the fact of the matter is I'm never going to be Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Chase Elliott. You're not going to have that connection with the hardcore roots of the fans. I mean, Tony was popular, but he's never going to be an Earnhardt. And I think as you look at it right now, Chase has that potential. You know, I'm fortunate to have a solid fan base, and it seems like we keep gaining momentum from a fan side of things, and hopefully that continues. But the guy that has the most potential is Chase Elliott with the the traditional NASCAR fans. But I mean, it's just like we talk. You got to win. There's a difference between a superstar and a megastar, and in the past, our superstar wasn't a megastar because of the fact he didn't win enough. And Chase Elliott is the next guy that can be the megastar, but you got to win. And that's what. No, I don't think you do. I mean, when you have a guy like Tiger Woods, I mean, he's won and won and won and won and won and won, and performance is. I mean, Danica had a personality, and she didn't perform well. And she could have been a megastar as well. Danica didn't perform well, and in the end, performance trumped these, from superstar to megastar. And if you want to be the megastar, you have to perform and win, and that's the effect that a guy like Tiger Woods has, and it's something that even you look at Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy and I have had this conversation. We don't have that capability from just a traditional roots family standpoint that you can be that guy. It's just there's only a few people that have come through the sport that can be that guy. Jeff Gordon obviously came through, but he won a lot in the beginning, and he was the guy he was the young guy that kept winning and won championships and had that immediate impact as far as catching everybody's attention. And it's after you get in here for a few years and you don't catch everybody's attention, you just kind of wind up being one of the guys unless you wind up winning a lot.
But you're having a revival of sorts because you did win. I mean, when's
Yeah.
the last time we saw a guy win 3 in a row? You're having a revival because you have connected with the fan base
Yeah.
on happy hours. I mean,
I agree.
you have that forum. You also take the time where Jimmy hasn't to be on Fox Sports and to get your brand out there. You have top-of-the-line sponsors, whether it's InBev or Jimmy John's or Mobile,
Yep.
that can also take the Harvick brand. So, what's it going to take to get the sport back to where it was, 5 years ago?
Yeah, and I think you need to back up more than 5 years. Yeah, I think when you look at that dynamic between Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt, that's the dynamic that we have the potential to have right now with the group of young racers that have come in. But we have to have them. Somebody has to step up and be that winner. Who's the young winner? Who's going to be the guy that's going to go against Truex and challenge him for the championship that he's defending right now and win races. And so I'm happy with where we're at. We're winning races and gaining momentum and doing all the things that we need to do. And if we keep winning, you'll keep gaining that same momentum with the fans, and hopefully we can continue doing that. But at some point, a lot of the marketing has gone around a group of guys, and the guys that are winning. You can market over here, and then you can have the winners over here. And until you get somebody to step up consistently to win races in that group, and Kyle Larson has done that. So it's just an interesting conversation that you could debate a lot of things for a long time. That I love to talk about it because it's very interesting, and we all need each other, to play off of everything that's going on. But it's still seems like it's the same group of guys that it's been for the last few years, winning.
Earnhardt was turning 50, right before he died, and he still had a level of popularity that was just insane. So, I mean, you
Absolutely.
keep bringing up the age thing, but when you think about him, Terry Labonte, these guys were in their 40s and, still bringing in fans.
Absolutely. And, hopefully the guys that are in their 40s can keep doing that because that's our goal.
All right, Kevin, thanks for joining us, and good
Thank
luck
you.
on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to wrap up our Busch Pole Award qualifying press conferences here at Texas Motor Speedway. We're joined by our Busch Pole Award winner, Kurt Busch, driver of the number 41 Haas Automation Monster Energy Ford. Kurt, why don't you just take us through your lap out there that put you on the pole?
It was a unique situation with just having the one round, and the thought that weather was out in the area, it hadn't crossed our minds, but yet you got to play all 3 rounds as smart as you can. And so we went a little bit aggressive on that first round, and it paid off. I think round 2 we would have picked up even more speed, and then round 3, that would have been where we would have had to, make a big gamble to see if we could still maintain that pace. But I'm glad that we had the pace right off the truck, thanks to Billy Scott, Doug Yates in the engine department. Those guys are building some good steam. And having that technical alliance with Mobil 1, those guys have helped us out with the qualifying side of it. And so it's really neat to have our Fords at Stewart-Haas hauling the mail like this. I mean, when you go to attack the track and really stand on the gas hard, it's a great feeling to know that it's going to stick. And Stewart-Haas Racing's been on fire recently.
All right, we'll open up to questions. We'll start right here with Dominic. And then we'll go to Jerry.
Dominic Catagona with the Racing Experts and ESPN Albuquerque. Based on practice and this first round of qualifying, how confident were you guys you could sit on the pole today?
I thought we were pretty strong in practice, and then you have to make the right adjustments as the Xfinity cars practice, and then with the temperatures being a little warmer this time around, the track was going through more changes here in the spring than it did last fall. So I'm gaining more and more confidence in Billy Scott and our lead engineer on the way that they are pinpointed on finding that tenth of a second that the car needs. And we've done that in practice, we've done that in qualifying, and now we need to translate that into the race, mainly the second half. I think we've done good in the first stage so far this year, the second stage, but we need to close the races out stronger. That's our next step.
We'll go to Jerry and then Nate.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. I'm looking for a house in North Carolina. I heard you might have one for sale. I was hoping you could help me out with that.
Yeah,
What's up
the
with the
Charlotte
deal?
Observer thought that was news.
Seriously, what are your plans? Are you looking for a new place? Are you moving to Florida full time? What's the end goal here?
Yeah, I'm not going the full Mark Martin route where I'm living in Florida and commuting back to all the races, but the house is up for sale because I bought another house. It's under a different name. Now, North Carolina is home to me. My wife Ashley loves it, and the motorsport world is rooted in North Carolina. You're seeing more and more teams, drag racing, sports cars, a lot of Mooresville connections and Concord connections. Kannapolis is where Stewart-Haas is based out of. So North Carolina is in my future long term.
We'll come up front to Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports Money, right, Kurt? You mentioned that Stewart-Haas Racing has been on fire lately. There's been a lot of theories as to why the resurgence this year is the optical scanning station with the Fords. There's Kevin Harvick was saying earlier today the stability of the team and the commitment of Gene Haas in terms of financial. What would you point to as maybe like the biggest reason or the single biggest reasons for Stewart-Haas being so good in 2018?
I think it's hard to pinpoint one single reason, but for my ex-crew chief, Tony Gibson, to come off the road and to be as involved as he is in the process of building all the cars for all 4 teams, to have somebody as current as him that's been on the pit box, calling races, pushing cars through tech, building cars, aero-wise, chassis-wise, to have him overseeing all the 4, I'm a bit biased because I love Tony Gibson, and he's done a tremendous amount for my career. I think he found his perfect role at Stewart-Haas Racing. If you go and ask him and interview him right now, he'll say it's all about the process and the people that are around him. But he has found some good people, rearranged them into different positions, and I think that our team is doing a really good job of creating continuity between the 4 cars. And when you have that at the shop, and the way the cars are built from the first day, it just seems to translate into more success and an easier, transparent flow all the way through when you put a car on the racetrack and sit right now top 3 positions at Texas Motor Speedway. It just seems to flow even better.
We'll come up here to Bob.
Bob Hockers, ESPN, with temps in the 40s expected tomorrow and then race temps in the 60s. Do you learn anything tomorrow?
It's one of those days where you want to call in sick. There's not going to be much that we can gain 40 degrees tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You have to go off of past race notes, from the spring race last year, the fall race. We'll go out there for practice runs. I know the engine guys want to tune up some things, and that's again a lot of the credit too. Back to Nate Ryan's question, I would say there's no one single reason or one person, but to have Doug Yates and Yates' engines under the hood, that comes into play when you're qualifying. And I want to just take the time to thank Doug Yates and that whole group for giving us the horsepower to get the pole today and the race wins that we've had this year on big tracks, little tracks, the super speedway speed we've had. Doug Yates has been, and their group has been under the hood the whole way.
All right, Kurt. Well, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on winning the pole. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.